I'm going to be introducing the next speaker. Very happy to introduce Ms. Janita Karen Rajakumari. She is an assistant professor here in School of Music Therapy. Um, she is a speech language pathologist with a master's degree in medical music therapy and is proficient in singing and playing musical instruments such as the flute and the recorders. She is currently an assistant professor at the School of Music Therapy and has completed her MSc in medical music therapy and just received her gold medal last week in the convocation. She is currently pursuing her PhD scholar. She's a PhD scholar. She's carrying out an interdisciplinary research among children and adolescents with autism spectrum disorder. She is passionate about teaching future music therapists and in working with children with special needs, and has authored a book chapter which talks about music therapy for children with special needs in the Indian context. She has been a resource person in many webinars, workshops, and conferences, and has conducted outreach programs in settings such as School for Children with Special Needs, public health sectors, and colleges, to name a few. And is also an active member of the Publications Commission of the World Federation of Music Therapy, and she represents Southeast Asia. I welcome you, and the floor is yours. Before we start, I think we'll honor the speaker for now, and I request Dr. Annie and Dr. Vaishali ma'am to come and give her the memento and the certificate.
Okay. So thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful introduction and for the mementos that we all decided to get for all the resource person. So my name is Janita. I'm an assistant professor here at the School of Music Therapy. And I'm also a PhD research scholar working with children and adolescents with autism right now. So my topic for today is music therapy, a salutogenic orientation. So this is actually my attempt and compilation of how music therapy that I am familiar with is salutogenic. We are from the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine. Our focus is salutogenesis. So that is the reason why we tend to connect everything that we do with salutogenesis. And that is what we are going to try to understand today as well. So this is Professor Aaron Antonovsky. So he is the person who termed or coined the term salutogenesis. And he is a sociologist, and his work was always revolving around stress, health, and well-being. So as he is working in this area, he comes in contact with a lot of physicians who looks at clients and wants to diagnose them in different ways. And looking at that, he started to wonder, okay, everybody is looking at how a disease is caused, what is causing a disease, why is the person not well, but nobody is trying to understand how does the person be healthy. Where does health come from? What are the origins of health? So if we look at a person, we don't look at them as a disease condition, but look at that person and think, okay, this is the person, and how, as a professional, am I going to help them enhance their health and well-being rather than just managing the symptoms that they have as part of the condition? So that is the whole idea of salutogenesis. It was termed based on two terms, salus, which means health, and genesis, which means source. So just a gross translation will be sources of health. That is the meaning of salutogenesis. So when I was reading about salutogenesis, I came across these two perspectives of salutogenesis. One is the salutogenic model of health, and the other is the salutogenic orientation. When it comes to the salutogenic model of health, the heart of this model is the sense of coherence, which is an orientation towards life. So all of us possess a sense of coherence. And initially, Aaron Antonovsky actually hypothesized that up till the age of 30, the salatogenesis is the sense of coherence is going to develop and then stop. But later, his successors or the people who follow the same concept did a lot of research, and they concluded that no, it does not stop at any point of time. It actually keeps on developing throughout their course of life. And sometimes at one point with age, it can even decrease with a lot of conditions or the stresses that they face in life. And the other perspective is the salutogenic orientation, which is more of a professional interest where any profession which follows salutogenesis focuses on the origins of health. So yeah, so SOC, or the sense of coherence, as I was talking, is an orientation towards life. And since I told that, it is going to be evolving throughout the period of life of a person, what shapes it? It is actually their life experiences. So it is going to be subjective for each person based on what they face in life, what they are exposed to, what kind of stress they undergo, what kind of happy experiences they have in life. Everything is going to determine their sense of coherence. So sense of coherence is when a person is feeling that their life is comprehensible. So if I have a strong sense of coherence, my life is going to be comprehensible to me, meaning I'm going to understand whatever is happening in my life. Number two is manageable. Whatever stresses that I'm facing, my job, my studies, my family life, my personal life, everything, am I able to manage it well? If I am, I have a stronger sense of coherence. And the last is meaningful. What is the meaning of life? We usually come across people who just live. I mean, they do not really have a focus or a meaning or a motivation. So a person with a good or a higher sense of coherence knows what they want in life, knows the meaning of life, knows what they are running behind in whatever job they are doing in this point of time. So sense of coherence put together is made up of these three things, which is comprehensibility, manageability, and meaningfulness. Now let's go into salutogenic orientation. So salutogenic orientation, as I was saying, is of a more professional interest. And here, because we are in a health sector, we'll focus more on the health promotion research. So when a healthcare is in a salutogenic orientation, the professionals in that profession are going to do research and practice, which are going to focus on the origins of health and not on the origins of the disease. So if I am a physician and I am in a healthcare university, my research and the way I intervene with my patients will be salutogenic, meaning I will look at the person and think about, okay, this person has this condition. Yes, I am going to diagnose. I'm not going to deny that they have a health issue, but also not that only is not the main thing that I'm going to focus on. I'm going to look at that person as a whole and think about how I can improve their health and well-being on the whole, how I can improve their sense of coherence and not just manage the symptoms. So putting both of this together in one place, salutogenesis has two perspectives. The salutogenic model of health, where the sense of coherence is the heart, and the salutogenic orientation, which is more related to health promotion. So I would say that the salutogenic model is more relevant to a global orientation where it is much more wider and it is relevant for all human beings. We do not need a professional when it comes to the salutogenic model. So everybody has stressors in life and everybody must have the ability to cope with that. So that is what the global orientation states. If a person is facing any stressor in life, they should be able to use the resources, whatever resources that is available around them in their daily life experience. They do not need a professional or they do not need to go and approach a professional to get a better sense of coherence. They just need to be able to use the resources that are available around them in their life, like going and talking to a friend or watching a movie. Eating good food can help some people and listening to music also in this context. Whereas in the salutogenic orientation, it is a professional's interest to look at a person's origins of health and do their intervention processes and research processes in that area. So here, if we bring music and music therapy, I think that music is more relevant to the global orientation where it can be used as a common resource by any individual to face the stresses in life. Whereas music therapy is more relevant in the salutogenic orientation, where music therapy professionals look at a person in a salutogenic way and their practice and research is going to be salutogenic. So they are not going to look at a person as a disease. They are not going to look at a person as their symptoms, but going to look at them and think about, okay, how am I going to help them enhance their health and well-being, and where does this person's health come from? What are the origins of their health and well-being? So in the global orientation context, using music can be as simple as just listening to music. You don't need to be a musician to play an instrument or even sing. So it is as simple as just putting on your headphones and listening to music, and that itself can help you in various places in your life. I have just put a few examples like work performance, physical performance. You can be distracted from your distress or stress that you face in life. You can alleviate your anxiety and moods. So it is as simple as listening to a piece of music which you like in a particular point of time. So before I go into the specific, that is the music therapy as a salutogenic orientation, I would like to talk to you about this concept of salutogenesis as an umbrella concept. So just because we keep talking about sense of coherence, it is not to be mistaken that salutogenesis means measurement of sense of coherence. But no, there are a lot of other things that are there in our lives, which are all assets to our health and well-being. It is not just the sense of coherence, but these small, very important things in life, like interdisciplinarity, inner strength, coping mechanisms, gratitude, our quality of life. All of these are going to be along with the sense of coherence and are going to contribute to your health and well-being. So music therapists, at least I'm going to talk about what we do here. We do work on these areas. Actually, we've come in contact with this concept of salutogenesis very recently. But when we go back and retrospect, we are able to relate to all these assets of health and well-being. That, you know, when we watch our own video documentations with our clients, we are able to connect. Yeah, this is what we were doing from the top. It is salutogenic what we were doing, and we did work on enhancing their sense of coherence and the other assets of their health and well-being.